Hey folks, John here. Thank you for tuning in and welcome back once again to This World, My Take, where the headlines meets real talk. It's always an honor to have you stop by and check out what we have to say. So please do think about subscribing and being part of the channel. Let's not talk too much, let's get into it. So ladies and gentlemen, Europe seems to me like it's in shambles. Europe is gradually going down to a phase where it will not return. And what do I mean by that, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, it is true that the world is focused on the war with Israel had with Iran and Israel, the genocide that is going on now in the Middle East against the Palestinian people. But we do fail to understand that prior to all of these conflicts, prior to all of these situations, there was actually a war going on in Europe. And that war is the Russian-Ukrainian war. Now, I started this vlog by saying that Europe is gradually going down into shambles. And I mean that. And I said that because it seems as if when America says jump, Europe jumps very, very high. And Europe asks how high, and they go. Now, let me say this. If you look at Europe today, you will not see a powerhouse anymore. And that is because, of course, we can talk about the rise of BRICS and the South, the global South, taking power and taking a whole lot of strength that used to exist in the West. But I want to say this. When we look at the economy of Europe, when we look at immigrational policies of Europe, and when we look at what is happening, the consistently and the persistent funding that Europe is offering to Ukraine, and they are pushing that Ukraine should become part of the European Union. I think that is bonkers. Let me sound like the Europeans would say. And I think that is delusional, and that is gross miscalculation of what Russia really stands for. Ladies and gentlemen, a couple of years ago, decades ago, Russia had actually warned European Union that, look, you can expand all you want, but make sure that you do not come anywhere close to get Ukraine to join the European Union. Now, you might say this like, who is Russia or who was Russia to say that back then? But let me say this. The same person who runs Russia today, the same person leading Russia today was well alive during those periods. And to think that for some weird reason, this same man was going to stand by and watch you people bring Ukraine in so that you can always station your powerhouses and your spy network and everything to survey on Russia. Bro, that was daydreaming in broad daylight. And politicians in the European Union, they are one of the worst types of politicians because it seems as if they are not learning from history. And from every indication, history is going to repeat itself, ladies and gentlemen. There's going to be a big all-out war in Europe sooner or later if these current politicians do not take a lesson and learn and stop pushing and funding Ukraine to keep fighting. War is not a good thing. But when politicians lie, when politicians act like they don't see what is happening, when politicians enrich themselves at the detriment of people dying for a stupid cause, then we need to talk about it. Let me not say much. There is a young Dutch lady who has been a powerhouse and she has been speaking out. She goes by the name Eva. I don't know how to pronounce the others. I'm not even going to try. There is a speech that she gave a couple of weeks ago. I want us to take a listen at this speech about one of the worst politician or the leader that European Union has ever had, and that is its president. I want us to pay attention and listen to what she said, and then I will give you my take. Listen to what she's saying.
Our regime uses pretty words to hide their intentions, but they pervert and invert our definitions all the time. They say that to maintain peace in Europe, we need to go to war with Russia. They say that to protect democracy, we have to ban right-wing parties. And they say that to safeguard freedom of speech, they need to censor disinformation. Just like in Orwell's 1984, war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we can find the embodiment of that regime in one person in particular. The worst leader of them all, the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. America got 4 more years of Trump. We, here in Europe, got 5 more years of Ursula von der Leyen. The thing is, though, that no one ever voted for Ursula von der Leyen. No one ever voted for her, yet she is one of the most powerful people in Europe, and she's implementing some of the most destructive policies that our continent has ever seen. Just to give you a few examples, she's the one who introduced the Green Deal, crippling our economy. She's the one who introduced the Migration Pact, replacing our native population. And now she's attacking our national sovereignty even further by introducing the Rearm Europe program, an 800 billion euro defense fund mostly used for Ukraine, a country that isn't and should never be part of the European Union.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, she couldn't have said it any better. And you can tell that she is a very fierce and outspoken European citizen who was tired. She is tired. I don't get the point why some of these leaders are even allowed to still rule over people and make decisions that would condemn people's future for generations to come. Yes, and the fact that she could mention George Orwell's book, the 1984. If you've not read that book, go read that book. Because everything that is in that book, we are seeing it playing out right now in front of us. And it is a scary thing because when the people will rise up, let me tell you something. All of these politicians, they are nothing when the people will rise up and stand up against them. And this is why she is making this speech. I want you to leave a comment and let me know exactly what you think about Miss Eva's speech. And if you think that she is correct about the President of the European Union. I, for one, I think that she is the worst of worst. And I've already said that in one of my channels when she went to Africa and tried to confuse African leaders to work with the European people. That's my take. The world is complicated and we are going to keep talking about it.